Everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and compare the Google Pixel 6 Pro and the iPhone 13 Pro Max and see which specific phone is a better one for you. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these devices, links will be down in the description. You can get them from there. You can help support the channel at the same time. Now, side by side, you can definitely tell there are some differences. The Pixel 6 Pro came out last year, towards the end of the year, so it's almost a year old as of this point, and it is a really interesting phone. So this thing has a 6.71-inch OLED display on the front, and it is a pretty good panel. It's 120 hertz, and I like this panel. It curves on the side, so it gives it a little bit of premium feeling, feelingness to it. You have a hole punch display, and it has a little bit more of a squared off design rather than having like the circular kind of rounded design on the iPhone 14 series. I think this phone looks great, and it's still a really good panel for sure. Fingerprint sensor in the display too, which is really nice. On the iPhone 14 Pro Max, we also have a 6.7-inch display. It seems like a little bit of a smaller phone, but it definitely is much heavier for sure. You are getting ProMotion at 120 hertz, which is really nice, and you are also still getting that dynamic island. So it's not as small of a hole as the iPhone as a Pixel 6 Pro. I would have preferred it this way, but still, this is some improvement. But it is kind of annoying. I mean, it doesn't look as good as something like the Pixel 6 Pro. So I'll say, although the panel itself might look better on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, I think the Pixel 6 Pro kind of has an advantage with the hole punch display. In terms of thinness and thickness, there's also a little bit of a difference. So if we go and zoom in my opinion, you can kind of see for yourself, the Pixel 6 Pro is a little bit of a thinner phone than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. It's not a crazy big difference. It's kind of like the same thing. They're both, thick phones, but I would probably say the Pixel 6 Pro is a little bit thinner. You are also missing a SIM card tray on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, where you have it on the Pixel 6 Pro. So that is another really good advantage of this specific phone. Now on the back, we are getting triple camera setups on both as well. So wide, ultra-wide telephoto lenses on both. We're getting that LiDAR sensor on the 14 Pro Max, which is nice. You're getting wireless charging on both phones, but you're getting reverse wireless charging on the Pixel 6 Pro, which is amazing. A lot of phones are getting this type of capability, and for Apple to still not be giving us this is very strange. So hopefully it ends up coming. Both phones support 5G. The iPhone 14 Pro Max has like crash detection and emergency SOS satellite mode, but I believe the Pixels also have some sort of feature like that. You're also getting MagSafe capability on the back of these phones, or at least on the back of the 14 Pro Max, and you are getting IP certification on both phones as well. So in terms of the outside, those are pretty much the main things. Also lightning port on the bottom of the iPhone 14 Pro Max, USB-C on the bottom of the Pixel 6 Pro, which a lot of people prefer USB-C, so might be a feature for the Pixel 6, and that kind of covers it up here. Now, in terms of software and longevity, this is another kind of interesting thing. So the Pixels typically for Android phones last a very long amount of time, and even when they're done supported, there's still like a development community that'll root their phones and stuff. So this phone is still going to be here for many more years. It's not probably going to last as long as the 14 Pro Max, but you have to keep in mind this phone is already a year old as of this point almost. So it's okay if it doesn't last as long as the 14 Pro Max, as long as it kind of lasts as long as the 13 Pro Max that came out last year. So also this one has gone down in price a lot too, so that might be another advantage of why this one might be appealing over this phone. But the 14 Pro Max, definitely when it comes down to software longevity starting today, the 14 Pro Max is going to be the one that's going to last much longer. I mean, you look at phones like the iPhone 6s that's still kind of supported with software, and that thing, it came out in 2015. There's not a lot of 2015 Android phones that are still supported in this day and age. So kind of something to keep in mind here. Now let's go and do a speed comparison between both these phones. The Pixel 6 Pro has that Google Tensor chipset inside of it with 12 gigabytes of RAM, where the iPhone 14 Pro Max has that Apple A16 Bionic chip inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are cleared out in the background, so let's get into it. Phone calls, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I think it actually was faster on the 14 Pro Max. Cameras, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's go and zoom out. Let's go and zoom in and see if there's a big difference. And usually the iPhones are faster, that kind of stuff. Let's go and go back into normal, and let's go and take a photo. So this one is at night mode. This one is not, so hopefully we can get out of it. I guess we can, so let's go and take a photo. This one is obviously going to take a little bit longer. So once this is done, let's go and open up this photo. And kind of the same thing, let's go and zoom in and out. Actually pretty fast on the Pixel 6 Pro, you guys can kind of see right there. Maybe due to the animations. Now hopping out, I want to go and showcase to you, let's just do the App Store 3, 2, 1, that going in and out of applications is also a little bit of a different experience. I think with iPhones, it's still a smoother experience. You can kind of see here that if I'm scrolling through, it's a little bit more glitchier on the Pixel 6 Pro, even though they're both at 120 hertz. Something with Androids, I mean, they just kind of like glitch up sometimes. As you can see with iPhones, it's a little bit smoother. So definitely keep that in mind. Hopping out of both these applications, still fairly smooth on both. As always, we have some of these third-party applications that are similar. So let's do Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. And Both were kind of the same. I think the 14 Pro Max was slightly faster. Instagram 321. And definitely taking a little bit longer on the Pixel 6 Pro. It's going up out of here. Let's do Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And I guess the Pixel 6 Pro was faster there. It was still like neck and neck between both. And you can see the Pixel 6 Pro is faster with the iPhone 14 Pro Max a little tiny bit behind. Let's go ahead and get into Facebook, which I guess I do not have here. Netflix, which I also don't have here. That is very strange. I guess I do have Facebook 321. Okay, iPhone 14 Pro Max faster, Netflix 321. Almost identically the same on both. Let's try Thank You 3, 2, 1. Okay, Pixel 6 Pro was like almost instantaneous right there. Let's go and hop out of this one. Let's do Snake vs. Block 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 14 Pro Max slightly faster there as well. Let's try Genshin Impact 3, 2, 1. Now this is a really big game. I will say in terms of gameplay between these two, they're probably going to be very similar as well. The only thing you're really going to see is like app opening and stuff. But beyond that, I think both do a great job. I'm actually really happy with the Google Tensor chipset recently. I think it's been improved quite a bit. But you can see in terms of app opening, the 14 Pro Max with these bigger games may do a little bit better, but I will say very similar. I mean, these things were like neck and neck. There was sometimes the Pixel 6 Pro was faster, sometimes the 14 Pro Max was faster. I don't think there's going to be that big of a difference from performance between these two, but I'm more excited about, the next year's devices with the Tensors and with the A15 and A17s and stuff. But between these two, very similar type of performance. Now, in terms of the camera setups between them, like I mentioned before, triple camera setups on both. So you're getting wide, ultra-wide, and telephoto lenses on both sensors, which is really cool. You're also getting 4K at 60 on the back of both these. You are getting 4K at 60 on the front of the 14 Pro Max, where you're getting 4K at 30 on the front of the Pixel 6 Pro. Not a big deal, but it is one of those things to keep in mind. Now, the 6 Pro, I think, has a great camera. I think it probably isn't as great as the cameras it used to be like on the original Pixels, but this phone still does a really good job. I mean, if you're trying to go and take, I would say the features are very similar. Like Pixels are like the iPhones of Androids in my opinion, and there's not like crazy amounts of features built into this specific camera, but there's also not a lot of crazy features built into here. You have standard modes here as well, like panorama, photosphere, lens, and stuff, but still a very good camera. No matter what you're going to want to do with it, it's going to be able to handle almost every single little thing that you throw at it, which is really nice. So this camera has been really good. The reviews of this camera has been pretty good as well. The 14 Pro Max camera, I think, is also really, really good. I'll be doing full camera comparisons between these two things at some point. But I will tell you, if you're trying to go ahead and just pick up a phone, the 14 Pro Max camera is also very, very good. In my opinion, this is probably one of the better cameras this year too. And I will say, the camera UI is much smoother. You have things like 15x zoom, 0.5x zoom like you have on that one too. And I will say, if there's one thing I want to point out, it's the switching between cameras and going through the UI is not as glitchy of an experience on the 14 Pro Max as compared to the Pixel 6 Pro. So if there's one thing I had to say, it's probably that. But still, you're getting a few cool modes like cinematic mode and action mode and stuff. But both cameras are still very good, and I don't really think one is like 100 times better, but I will probably say the 14 Pro Max may have a better camera. So to kind of wrap up this video, I think the 14 Pro Max does hold up very well against the Pixel 6 Pro and vice versa. I think both these phones are very good. I think if I had to pick up one, I think the iPhone 14 Pro Max is probably the one I would buy, but there are still things about the Pixel 6 Pro that I just don't understand why Apple hasn't implemented them yet. Things like the hole punch display, still having the dynamic island is cool, it's an improvement, but I wish they brought something like this over this one. I like the curved edge a lot. I love these types of panels that curve on the sides. They're really, really nice. I wish Apple were to bring USB-C on their iPhones too. And I wish this is the big one, I wish they brought reverse wireless charging. That is something that's really cool. Samsung have it, Google's have it. I wish, iPhones were to bring it too. But if I had to pick up one, probably the iPhone 14 Pro Max, but the Pixel 6 Pro still has a lot of cool flagship features that iPhones still don't have. So that kind of covers it up here. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.